Da nagatsi hinu chadkish dikyang. My Haida name is Fox. Dong esh di good logging. I'm happy to see you. Welcome to number 13 of Haida language and etymology. Today we are going to be talking about the owl and the witch and some mythological Haida language. So I'm really excited about this one. I've been kind of waiting to get to this. It's not going to be a very long video today, but it's meant to illustrate the ways that there are cultural connections in words and ideas in Haida that yet again can't be easily translated to English and reveal something about the culture. And we can, understand a lot about that from the way the words are connected. And I'm very fascinated by this. So let's jump right in. All right. So the first word that I want to talk to you about today is the word for sawet owl, a specific kind of owl. We're not going to be going over every word for owl in Haida. There are many owls in Southeast Alaska, and they have their own names, but we're going to specifically be talking about the sawet owl, kag or stow. Okay, stow is the word we're going to be focusing on primarily. So here are some sentences that connect to the owl. All right, we have kagwai kingangung, the little owl is hooting. Kagwai kingagung, gangung. All right, and we have another word which is related to kag. All right, we have kag the jangagai kwan oyagang. The toadstools are very plentiful. So if you notice, both of these sentences deal with kag. All right, what is this word kag? All right, it refers to an owl and also to toadstools, right? Toadstool is kag the jangagai, the toadstool, right? So what is this root word? What does it mean? I'm not certain, right? But it connects two things of the dark, right? So we kind of associate toadstools with darkness. We kind of associate owls with darkness and with night. So let's just look at that and carry on a little bit, all right? I want to talk to you about the word witch in Haida. So the word for witch, check it out, is stow, all right? Same word as the word for owl. Now, why would that be? Okay, let's look at witches for a second. The witches, stow's hot eye. The witches, stow's hot eye. And then we have to be a witch, stow-ah, stow-ah. And then we have just singular witch, stow. So why would the word for witch and the word for owl be the same? That tells us a little bit about how we conceptualize both, doesn't it? We associate witches with owls. That might not be super surprising, given that in many, many, many cultures, owls are equated to nighttime, to transformation, or even to death, right? But here's a very concrete connection between owls, toadstools, and witches in Haida. And I just think that that's like fantastic, really. What is the etymology of this? How are these things connected? How are these sounds connected to these entities, right? It's something really cool to think about, and it's something that should really be researched more, right? Let's continue. some sentences that have to do with witches and witchcraft in Haida. We have Stosan Yadayan. They also believed in witchcraft. Stosan Yadayan. And we also have La Stodayan. He was bewitched. La Stodayan. So I have spoken to a variety of Alaskan Haida people, mainly who lived in the Ketchikan area. And by more than one, I was told that the connection between the witch and the Sawet owl is the face in the trees. So the Sawet owl has something of a luminous, round face. And you can imagine if you're going through the forest at night and you see an owl perched in a tree and its glowing face, it might look spooky. There's this idea, I've been told in Haida that, the witches are kind of ghost-like witch type entities, supernatural entities are ghost-like and have a luminous face in the wilderness, right? So here's a connection between the witch and the Sawet owl, right, in appearance. And then I've heard that there's also a connection to the sound that the owl makes, but I can't elaborate on that very much here, other than the connection between Stow owl and Stow witch. So these are important cultural associations, and they matter in language and in storytelling. These are the kinds of things that give us like a mood in a story, right? Like if I'm starting to tell you a native story and you know about the connection between owl and witch, if I'm like, it's a dark night and there's a sound of owls, you immediately are like, okay, I got you on that, right? So like, it might seem a little generic to associate owls and witches, but it's really not. There's like a wealth of cultural information and folkloric information in there, right? If you look through Haida stories, there's all kinds of fantastic supernatural entities, and you can see how they're like linguistically related. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and point that out. Why are these stories important? Okay. Folklore is important because it frames the way we interact with each other and with our environment. Even if we don't have the exact translations of Haida stories, there's a lot of information we can get from even the smallest, stories about native folklore. So that's all I really wanted to go over with you. Next time, we're going to get into a lot more direct Haida translation. I'm going to be reading you an Alaskan Haida version of The Girl Who Fed the Raven, which is taken from a Skidegate Haida story. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. House Dunk King Song. The Managantlkingo.